Hey guys, Truzy here with a brand new video, and today we're going to be talking about the CWL Pro League crossplay as well as CWL London Pools, and let's get right into it. So, week 1 of cross division, you had UIU, Heretics, Accelerate, Red, NVLG, E United, and EG. And, well, I mean, one of the bigger surprises for me was UIU. They just didn't look great. I feel like UIU is a way better team than what they finished during crossplay, which was 1-3. I don't know, even though they may not be like a top roster like your Optic Gamings or your Luminosities or your teams, with a lot of firepower, I still believe they're a pretty solid roster, and I don't know, a little bit surprising to me that they finished 1-3. The other big surprise that we had was actually your Fort Worth champs, Luminosity. They finished 2-2, and all their games were game 5s. They just didn't look well. They couldn't get much rolling, couldn't get any momentum. And I mean, part of that blame you have to put towards the fact that they were getting blacklisted in scrims and tens and everything. So, I mean, when you can't play and you can't practice as a team, I mean, you're not going to get better, So, obviously, you have to put a little bit of blame to the fact that they were being blacklisted by teams, but I mean, still a little bit surprising that they didn't have a stronger week, especially with all the momentum that they had coming off of, a big championship performance. Another surprise that we had was actually Envy. They come out with a really strong week. They go 3-1. They only lose one match, but the only issue with that one match was the fact that it's against EG. If I'm not mistaken, EG's probably the worst team in the Pro League. They don't have a great record, I believe 2-9 or somewhere along those lines, but I mean, besides that, Envy looked pretty solid. I mean, Hook played, like Hook. You had your other guys step up. I think Aches actually played pretty well considering like the circumstances of all the rumors that he's possibly going to be getting dropped, But besides that, that kind of just sums up what I took from the week 1 matches of crossplay. So heading into week 2, I mean, it wasn't too interesting. Optic finished 3-1, but to be honest, it was one of those weeks that they just didn't look solid at all. I mean, I know at least the match against the 100 Thieves, they had Karma running the main AR in, I think, at least the frequency hardpoint. I know they had Karma using the ICR a lot of the games. And I just think it just threw the roster off, especially for that 100 Thieves match. I mean, you look at the games, I mean, they went to game 5 against Denial. Not great. They even let Denial come back in the S&D, which they were up 5-1. Denial could have easily won that, but they choked quite a bit heading into that final round. Now, the other matches, I mean, they just weren't as dominant as I expected Optic to have, Optic didn't look great. The other thing about Optic Gaming was the fact that I felt like a lot of times they had favorable situations and they were just losing them and throwing away, like, for instance, rounds in S&D or rounds in control where they should have 100% won, and they just choked and flat out let teams come back on them. And it's not great to see it from a top team. I mean, you would think that teams like Optic and 100 Thieves would have these situations ironed out, but it doesn't always work out that way. I just think Optic Gaming right now, they need to find their identity. They need to find something that works for them. They need to make sure everybody feels comfortable in the roles that they play, and I think they'll be fine and they'll be ready to bounce back. Okay, so that basically sums up my big points of cross-division play for week 1 and 2 of it. Now, we're going to get into the CWL pool draw, actually. So, Pool A consists of some juggernauts. You have Optic, 100 Thieves, Enigma 6, and Reciprocity. Now, I think this is probably one of the tougher pools, if not the toughest. I mean, you got, your two big players, Optic and 100 Thieves. I mean, I don't know. The other team that I really wouldn't sleep on is Reciprocity. I feel like they're kind of like a sneaky team that's probably going to do a lot of big things this tournament. I mean, it's hard to doubt them when you see what they were able to do at Fort Worth and you see what they're able to do against some of the top teams. This team's just so well built that it doesn't matter how much gun skill they have, although, not gonna lie, they really do have one of the best duos, if not the best SOG duo in the game, with Dylan and Zed. But with that being said, I mean, I really think that this group goes the way of 100 Thieves. I mean, Slasher's been on fire, Kenny's been on fire. When you have those guys clicking, everybody else's job so much easier, and it just makes everything for that team go way smoother, and it really just helps them out in the long run. Coming in second, I actually have Reciprocity. I have a feeling that they're going to make big moves this tournament. I think that they can beat everybody in this pool besides 100 Thieves. I think 100 Thieves is the only team that possibly goes 3-0 in their pool. But Reciprocity, they're a sneaky team, right? I feel like if they just iron some things out, like maybe in their respawns, and they're able to close out games, they'll be one of the better teams in the CWL, It's just a really good, talented young team. They have Tommy, that veteran that helps them, makes their plays for them, all that stuff, Just a really well-built team. Coming in for Division B, you got Genji, Splice, LG, and Denial. And now, it's a little hard to go against the champs here, saying that, they won't be top of their group, but I just really feel like Splice is going to have a really big run this tournament as well. I just feel like right now Jerd and Accuracy are finally starting to figure things out with this team, and Jerd's just been playing amazing. I mean, his grab slams have been on point. I mean, the guy's been so efficient with them. It seems like every time he pops it, it's a 2 or a 3 piece every single time. I mean, there have been times where he literally single-handedly wins his team around or makes the round 10 times easier based off of what he did with his grab slam and the plays that he makes with it. It's just, I feel like now that this team has finally found itself with Accuracy and Jerd being able to, slay as hard as they've been for the past couple days, I really feel like, this is gonna be a team to look out for. Okay, so besides Splice, the other team I have making it out of their pool is probably gonna be LG. I mean, despite the fact that they're being blacklisted, I still think they have a lot of talent on that team, and they're gonna probably find a way to get it done. I just really feel like they're better than all the other two teams, Genji and Denial. I just really feel like they'll be the second team to make it out of pools, and I think they're not gonna have any trouble. Most likely, hardest matchup obviously is gonna be Splice. Besides that, though, they probably finish 2-1, somewhere around there. Now, for Pool C, we have EU, Red, Envy, and EG. Now, I mean, you look at the teams. Obviously, EU and Envy are favorites here. I mean, the other two teams are on the weaker side, I guess you could say. Red Reserve, they're dealing with tons of internal problems right now. Most of those guys are likely to be gone out of there, I believe. Like, the rumor is that the only ones that are going to stay teaming together are most likely going to be Joe and Rated. But besides that, I mean, EG, obviously, they're not doing so hot right now. They're not a good team chemistry-wise. They don't have chemistry whatsoever. And Attaches, he needs some help. I mean, he's the only one on that team really doing much, and he's not going to get any help this tournament. They're going to fall. They're probably going to not even win a map, to be honest with you. They're just really bad. Moving on to Pool D. I mean, this is definitely the weaker pool. I mean, you got Heretics, Midnight, Accelerate, UIU. Despite me thinking that UIU's, a pretty good team, I still think Midnight and Heretics are going to get the job done. They're going to dominate. They're going to pull it out. And I just believe they're the two better rosters. Okay, guys, this is going to be the end of the video. Those were my thoughts on crossplay, as well as my CWL pool play predictions as to who's going to make it out. But besides that, like, comment, subscribe. This has been your boy Truzy. Peace.
Testing hardpoint. Hardpoint contested. Hardpoint identified. Hostiles have the hardpoint. Reckon I'm feeling buyer's remorse.